Those protests earlier this month with residents calling for government assistance. Cooperative Governance Minister Zweli Mkhize is expected to visit the area. ENCA's Lindokuhle Xulu is there and joins us now. So, Lindokuhle, you are back in Kanyamazane. What has the Minister of Corporate Governance had to say in that particular area?
Well, what we heard, Tulas, from the Minister of Corporate Government, Dr. Zweli Mkhize, was that he is here as part of his national plan, part of an intergovernment plan to ensure that there is intervention on municipalities that do not, perform well or that leave a lot of room to be desired, if I may put it in that regard. But he is here to discuss with the Premier of the province as well as the MECs and other leadership in the province to understand what exactly are the challenges that are causing these. And we know that the key point in this is that they will be looking at the government issues, the governing issues in the province, in the provincial leadership, in the local leadership, and they will also be looking at the misuse of funds as well as the all-important electricity bill that 5 municipalities in this area have, which is an exorbitant amount of money contributing to the debt of ESCOM.
So, just in Kanyamazane then, part of the outcry earlier on when we saw those protests had to do with the whole issue around the rebuilding of the houses that were damaged by storms. It seems now that that work can get underway. Does this suggest that a solution has been found to what the impasse was?
Well, the impasse now grew from just being about houses, Tulas, and now it has grown to a governance issue in the province. Residents particularly raising concerns about the problems, that they are facing, being that there is miscommunication or no communication whatsoever from the province leadership as well as local leadership. But allow me, Tulas, to take you through where the process of refurbishing those houses is. And if you can just move out of shores and see that this is one of the houses that represent many houses in the community, the one with a blue a sail on top of it, and that's a representation of many houses in this area after that hailstorm. They were given sails to actually be able to shelter themselves after that storm. And if you can move just next door, and now this is one of the houses that was tended to by contractors but left unfinished. If you can just see in between the house and the roof, you see that there is spaces there representing that project being halted, and that's what really took residents to the streets to ensure that they want this process to continue. Fortunately today, Tulas, we are seeing a more calm Kanyamazane, and more so we are seeing that there is the process of refurbishing these roofs is continuing. The house you are seeing now is one of the houses that's currently being tended to. We saw contractors earlier, I understand they are on break right now, but we saw them fixing, and as you can see, the space in between the roof and the house has now been closed off, not completely because the other sides still need to be tended to as well as the windows. But that's where the process is. They're going house by house. Unfortunately, at this point in time, there are a lot of houses in this area that haven't been tended to. But one positive thing coming out of this is that that process is now continuing, and the Premier, or rather the province, has been able to sort out the nitty-gritties between the contractors and the province, and that project is now continuing.
I don't think you could have done a better job, Lindo, of taking us there and really getting to the heart of the issues. That was perfect, the way you just showed us the various states of these houses in that neighborhood, because this was part of the core of the complaints, and we've seen for ourselves the state of the houses as they were, and also where they were left by the contractors and where they are now with the contractors back on the ground and on site in Kanyamazane. Where is the minister now? I mean, I understand some of the areas that he's going to visit are, shall we say, problem children, quote unquote, of governance in Mpumalanga. They include a municipality like Tabachwe, which has a track record of really bad governance and finance management.
Well, currently, Tulas, there is an ongoing meeting between leadership of the province as well as the minister himself. He did give us a pre-briefing telling us exactly what he is trying to achieve, which is to, intervene in these municipalities that you mentioned as well, that are the troubled child or the troublesome child of this province particularly. And, there are 5 municipalities that have been identified as those troubled childs, if we may continue using that phrase, in the province. And what they are trying to do now is to focus on them and focus on what exactly is the problem, particularly looking at, again, the governance, the misuse of the funds in that community, as well as the service delivery, that the way they've put it is the service delivery failure. That's what was written in the, the invite that we got. But that's exactly what the minister is doing. We understand there will be a press briefing at 2 o'clock to give us an outcome of that meeting and what they will be planning to do in terms of this national plan of intergovernment interventions in the area of Mpumalanga.
All right, Lindogu Hlekulu, thank you so much for that update. Lindogu Hlekulu, there in Kanyamazane for us, tracking the movements of the Minister of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, that is Minister Zweli Mkhize, who is following up on the situation in as far as governance of some municipalities in that province is concerned. Well,